a lot of funeral homes, and he didn't need this one anymore. So he saw an article in the Buffalo News about the work our Preservation Society was doing in the neighborhood, and he called and asked if we wanted his building for our museum. We had a small storefront down the street with only a few artifacts, so when he offered the building to us, we accepted. We took it over in August of 2000. By October, we had it up and ready as a museum. They never said anything about the place being haunted. But when things started happening to us, we contacted the original funeral director, who used to live in an apartment in the back with his family. They had various experiences while they were living in the building. So none of us were ever into this paranormal stuff before. So every time something happened, day or night, it scares the heck out of us. So when I first came in to fix the place up, I was standing right here, and I felt a presence around me. I didn't know what it was, but I kept coming in anyway because I had to. Then one evening, I came in around dusk. Now when the building starts to get dark in here, it gets kind of scary. That evening, I unlocked the front door. I looked to my left in the front hall, and there was a full-size figure of a man there. He was all in black. He was bent over. He had a little cap on like immigrants used to wear. So in order to reset our alarm or turn on the lights, you have to go all the way to the office. So I ran through the darkened hallway. All I did was reset the alarm. By the time I came back out, he was gone. So if anyone has ever had that experience, knows it happens fast, you can't call someone and say, look what's here, because it'll be gone. Another time, our president was sitting at her desk, and she looked out and she saw a blue and white figure floating through the front door, and it floated into this room, which is where we're going to go now. So there's lots of room in here, just sort of pile in. And now Linda came out and checked, and no one or nothing was here. Now Linda will not come into the building by herself. She'll wait till someone else comes, and they'll come in together. When these things happened at the beginning, we didn't tell each other what was going on. Then one day our secretary was leaving, and she saw this picture of Santa and the little boy on the floor, and it was sitting up straight underneath the tablecloth. She thought it was weird, thought if it would have fallen, it would have only gone this far, or would have broken if it would have crashed to the floor. So she picked it back up, put it on the table, and that happened to her 3 or 4 more times, the same picture. Still, she didn't tell anybody. Then one day I was standing here working on the scrapbooks, and I looked to my right, and right by this doorway, where that little uniform is, there was a very tall figure of a man, all in black. He had a big hat on like ministers used to wear with a wide brim, and he had red eyes. And he was looking right at me. I didn't go out the doorway that way. I went around the other way, and I went home early that day. If something scares me, I go home. And I only live 2 blocks from here, so I can get home in a hurry. So the next night we all get together like we do on a Thursday night in the back, and have our dinner, and I told the girls what happened. Well, then they all shared their stories. Well, one of my daughters is really into watching the Ghost Hunter show. She said, you better call the Ghost Hunters. We called them. They called us back within 24 hours. They were here June 3rd, 2008. There were 22 cast and crew members. They had their cameras and their wires set up all over the building. They investigated overnight in the dark, and they declared us haunted. Did anyone see our show?
Yes.
Saw something? Yes. Yeah, so you're a little bit familiar with what's been going on around here. So we were glad in a way, but it was also kind of scary. So we've been busy ever since our show was on. We've had people from all 50 states and at least 20 foreign countries. So if anyone is here from out of town, we'll put you on the map sometime during the evening. And we also ask you to sign our book on the front desk if you don't mind. So occasionally something will happen during a tour. And I don't wish it on anybody, but if it does, you'll get the chills, you'll get a different look about you, your hair will stand up on end, and you'll wonder what in the world happened to you. So one morning, I was given a tour to 2 men and 2 women. They came in separately. The men were standing over here, and the women were over here. I looked over the one man's shoulder, and there was another person there. I thought to myself, I only signed 4 people in, and now there's 5. I didn't tell him that happened at the time. After the tour was over, I told him. He said, when I was talking about the man with the red eyes, he felt something pull on his shirt. So I saw it, and he felt it. The women were in the military room to take a picture. The one woman put her camera up, and the shadow man walked in front of her camera, and her camera snapped by itself. So it was only 4 people, and 2 things happened. Now, if you brought a camera, you can take pictures throughout the tour, or after you'll have time to go around and take pictures. So another morning, I was given a tour to a family from Toronto, and they were standing right here. The mother was in the middle, the daughter was on one side, and her husband was on the other side. I looked at her, and she had that look about her, and I said to her, what happened? And she says, the floor just moved under me. She says, it lifted me right up. And the rest of us didn't feel it, and we were all in this little area. So she was shot for the rest of the tour, but like I said, I don't wish it on anybody. But when you go in the basement, you'll notice how sturdy the building still is from standing from 1883. So we're going to walk back here a little bit now.
The last thing I'm doing
Sit how you want to.
Are you scared? Oh. I'm just gonna do it.
I'm not scared.
Even before our ghost hunter show was on, we had a group of people who call themselves psychic investigators. And they found out strange things were happening in this building, and they asked if they could stay overnight. And we said yes. So they were sitting around here in the dark, and they had a piece of equipment with them with a red light on. And they picked up 2 little boy spirits over in this area. The one little boy spirit they picked up, his name was Tom.